We all know the story of the 2005 NHL lockout. Gary Bettman and Bob Goodenow really wanted people to play NHL 04, so they canceled the 04-05 NHL season, so people would be forced to experience the best NHL game ever. But obviously this meant no live hockey, or at least no live NHL. Thusly, NHLers began to flock to other leagues to stay in shape and keep on doing what they love the most, aside from getting multi-million-dollar raises. Whether in Europe or domestic, the presence of pros in smaller markets and on once unknown teams created a spike in attendance and awareness for the pint-sized among pro hockey teams. The UHL and AHL in particular saw a few NHL vets play for them in the States. However, lost in all the hubbub over where the NHL stars went, is the continuation of the daily struggle for smaller, more cash-strapped leagues to finally make themselves known to the world. As the nation turned their gazes to the regional leagues, one league, the LOHL, would deliver a must-see spectacle that defies all reason, and two teams in particular, the weirdest of a very weird bunch, would give the NHL a run for its money. The LOHL itself needs an introduction before the teams or players do. Having data mined 2-decade-old IMs from when the league was still being set up, is that the prospective owners wanted the league to stand out in the market by basing the teams in cities with clickbaity names. Truly, a foolproof strategy. So, these are the teams we got in 1990. And yes, all of these cities or towns or geographical landmarks are real. At a sturdy 14 teams, the LOHL flirted with relevancy as a few franchises went in and out of bankruptcy, but by 2005, the league had enough stable history to make documentaries on. Who would do that, though? The Blades were this league's middling legend. They never quite found their footing, but after languishing in the weeds for so long, in 2005, they were finally on the up and up, catapulting to first in their division after some prospects came of age and some solid pickups in free agency, which weren't cheap. The most expensive was getting paid $25 an hour. The line on them was A-plus offense and goaltending. A killer combo. Dean Schofield then, the first pair rear guard, didn't get much praise and to this day remains one of the most underrated defensemen in LOHL history. I guarantee you some of you have probably never even heard of him. He was a true athlete. His diet consisted of Wheaties, broccoli, chicken, and worshiping the Lord every Sunday. Biff Lannon was the chief goal scorer for the Blades, far and away their franchise leader in that category. A true sniper who looked good sniping, he had a bit too much of an edge. He had produced all throughout their middling years, but almost didn't play this postseason because of the murder charges. Next up was 62-year-old Alfred Lord Helmer. He was a stay-at-home defenseman, mostly because his legs didn't work anymore. The Blades were captained by power forward and professional pot stirrer, Heavy Puker, who was a homegrown product. North Bay native, not Destruction Bay. Lastly, the Blades MVP that year, without question, goaltender the Dan Brisket. He was good enough to play in the NHL, no question, but given that he was a filthy rich author as well, he was set as far as money goes, and decided to just hang around in the lower league so he could punk on lesser skilled shooters. And he did. They had modestly high expectations as a team on the up and up. Most people believed that the series would come down to whether or not the Dan Brisket would get too complacent in net stomping on peons. Their opponent would be the one and only Rutgerhauer Omnishambles. They came over in the 01 expansion from the Huron Hockey Federation as the Rutgerhauer Valley Eagles, but the stipulations of joining the league were that you had to silify your team identity. So they took a silly logo and changed their name to something that matched both the O shape and the shoddy history of the team that wore that logo. They became the Omnishambles. The O's actually came into the league having won an HHF championship in '99, but were at the tail end of their window for that. They were kind of picking up the pieces as a failing team in '05, but they actually made the playoffs due to a perfect storm of luck and circumstance. Firstly, Latvian captain Herbers McGerbers somehow more than doubled his assist output this year without sacrificing his physical, aggressive game. '03 first-round pick Timmy Boatmeal exploded in his sophomore season. Actually, the reason he scored so much is because he was so afraid of getting hit that he would just shoot every time he got the puck. And it worked. Rutgerhauer mainstay Carl Buggs continued his physical dominance and offensive touch on the blue line, living up to the historical name of Buggs. Fourth, Daniel Konachev, a 31-year-old offensive D-man who was signed to a one-year deal to be a veteran presence, had a really big offensive season out of absolutely nowhere. Finally, the beloved goaltender for the Omnishambles, a Wells catfish, sadly could not make the playoffs due to tragically being caught and eaten in Finland. So the O's had to run with their backup, one 23-year-old Johnny Backup. There were lots of new faces on the Omnishambles going into that postseason, though. About 15 games into it, coach and GM Duff McGinnis and owner Mikko Ledesma realized that they only had 13 skaters. Upon figuring out that no NHL players were coming to fill in the gaps in their league, Duff McGinnis put his brilliant mind to work, figuring out how to recruit the most archetypal hockey players he could. Here was his scouting criteria. Hockey players are in shape, good-looking, and will proudly rep the threads you give them. He concluded that there was only one kind of person that fit this criteria: male models. So he went around the Rutgerhauer agencies and drummed up interest from 5 male models who ranged from knowing what hockey was to not. But they stuck around. It was a complete 180 for their careers, but by all accounts, they really applied themselves, solidified spots in the lineup, and were very well liked by their teammates. Musil and Nazardine started taking their pals to OHL games, Turrison taught his mom how to skate, and Boudreaux Plouffe paid for skating lessons for a children's charity he worked at. Isn't that nice? For some reason, after the models started playing for the O's, attendance among female fans rose 200%. Nobody knows why. Rutgerhauer's surprise postseason appearance was regarded with condescension. The LOHL media, all 4 of them, said that their luck would run out against the Blades once and for all. But time tells all. We go to downtown Thunder Bay at an arena aptly named Blade World for Game 1. The game started off very, very tentative.
Asplund crushed along the boards, a shot saved by Backup.
An early penalty on Valor was playing with fire, inviting the vaunted Blades offense to just unload on them. But then Dean Schofield interfered with Sanavori and the power play disappeared just like that. You see what I mean about nerves? The game could have taken a completely different direction if the Blades had that power play to capitalize off of, but prize goof Dean Schofield blew it and we got an absolute slog of a first period.
Comes around, feed in front to Turrison, and the Dan Brisket punched it away.
The second period started off as more of the same.
Wheels outside, cuts to the net, nothing doing, the defense covered well. He still got it, wraps around in front, and apparently it was lobotomized mid-deep.
Off another Schofield penalty, the Omnishambles experienced one of the most odd things you will ever see in a hockey game.
Dan Brisket, Olofsson pins it in the corner, they're tired. Sanavori and Osborne digging for... The defense has stopped moving!
What are
they're
they
stuck
doing?
still!
Huh?
Obviously there's sleeper agents and somebody in the audience has said the secret... And there's the...
Finally, both teams started to warm a bit to the task.
Along the half wall, across to Pispin, and deflected down and just wide. Matthews down the wing, he's got a man breaking. Asplund saved by Johnny Backup. Pass blocked. Giveaway, it's fumbled, a shot saved by Backup. It trickles through, but he lies down on it and saves a goal. Over halfway through regulation without a goal, but not without action. Osborne, late man, Bugs, bombs away, he scores! It's peanut butter jelly time!
Carl Bugs' first playoff goal came at a grand old time, as the first goal of a series where his team was the underdog. Good stuff.
Boatmeal fishes for it,
Watch out,
Bud got
Timmy!
it, and he is lit up by Biff Lannon. Oh my, Timmy Boatmeal's worst nightmare just came true.
The Blades all of a sudden seemed to shrivel up, only managing one good chance in the rest of the second. But going into the third, they were only down by 1, not too much to worry about. Especially when the other goalie is doing things like this, too.
Around behind it goes, too quick for Backup, and Backup is stuck. What is he doing? But crisis averted as they skated safely out to Boatmeal.
Chance.
What do you think happened there, Jerry?
Religious awakening, maybe?
But the most reliable Blade on the ice, supposedly, was the one who put the game out of reach.
Steps and shoots. The Omnishambles just putting everything they have on Dan Brisket. Left wing number 24 now circles the boards. Feeds up by to Konachev. Long shot, and Dan Brisket just got enough of that. Left wing number 24 again now. Back again to Konachev. A shot. He scores!
Doug, I gotta be honest. Dan Brisket has got to stop this shot. It's a one-timer wrist shot from a midget 64 feet away, and there's no screen.
Dan Brisket, the spine of the Blades, cannot give that goal up. Brutal. Desperation started to set in for the Blades, but it was too little, too late.
Walks in, fires, blocked by Puker. Traitor.
The Omnishambles did not let up.
Konachev fires, deflected. Amazing save from the Dan Brisket. It barely stayed out. Carl Bugs will play keep away. 20 seconds left. The crowd is grumbling wild. The Omnishambles are cheering. Biff Lannon is murdering the equipment manager. Puker pukes up the puck. Asplund rails Boatmeal. The Omnishambles have an empty net if they can get it there. McGerbers missed wide left. Here comes Boatmeal. He missed wide left. Sanavori missed a third time! Everyone on the first line has missed the empty net, but it won't matter! The game is over! 2-0 Omnishambles!
I almost had an aneurysm. How do you miss?
After the game, Biff Lannon addressed the media, apologizing for losing his temper and murdering Clive Melville, the equipment manager. Quote, "I want to apologize to Clive's family and the Destruction Bay organization. I was a younger man back then and have learned from my mistakes. When my team loses, I just reach for the first neck I see." When asked to comment, Blades coach Jeb Thurgood had none. The Blades were in trouble. Down 1-0 was absolutely not the place they expected to be, and now they didn't have anyone to air dry their gloves. To remedy the mental doldrums they were in, the starting lineups were announced by longtime superfan Abner Burbage, an 80-year-old who had never seen a Blades game in person. That really got the crowd going. "That poor guy," one fan said. "I really hope he just gets to see these guys win." But passion can only go so far. The effort of the players would have to have the final say. The Omnishambles knew they had a golden opportunity to go up 2-0 on the Dan Brisket, and that hunger showed.
Now as a man string gets Konich on the shot! Good save by Dan Brisket, and he will cover.
But the Blades had desperation.
Not tanned, just rusty. Side, the shot by Keaton just misses on a great setup from short stack Boris. Seizure with all day, slices to the middle, a shot by Alert, missed the net. Suck, Alert. Agropoulos turns, feeds to Keaton, that goes off the knob of backup stick. Sanavori in the corner, twirls with it. Right around in front, shoots, and he just pulled it near side wide. Fourth line offensive zone face-off. They win it, and Peltola just gets the shot away, but Dan Brisket catches it, skates it up, completely uncontested. He shoots, he scores! Just kidding, missed by a mile.
This was a completely different game than its predecessor.
Matthews with a few head fakes on his own, off the post and off the other side.
A high stick to Hurl's face let the male models know that they were playing for keeps. But the ensuing power play saw desperation win over hunger.
60 befitting of a man half his age, and since he is double the age of a man half his age, it did not work in the slightest. Osborne wide open, save!
Touché.
Konich in the defensive zone. No real pressure to this point in the power play. Keaton to Lannon, he scores! Biff Lannon, out of court, on the board, short-handed goal.
The Blades' first goal of the series was a psychological backbreaker, or mindbreaker? And later, mind-breaking goals are often more valuable than early, lead-taking ones.
Schofield swings around as he gets crunched by Braps. That looked painful. Left wing 24 to a screen. It bounces around. Dan Brisket saw it at the last second.
The Blades had the lead going into the third, but were only up by 1. They were still drastically underachieving, and only Dan Brisket was keeping it from going the other way. They needed offense, and they needed it now. But controversy would rear its ugly head in the young series.
Sloppies has been quite an offensive threat this year. Chucky Osborne just headshotted Ayatollah Abstrider, and he is slow getting up. No call on the play.
This is going to be controversial, but I don't think the head is the primary point of contact on this hit. But nonetheless, Abstrider does get Osborne's head, and Osborne would go down the tunnel. But with their teammates' brain turned into soup, they couldn't muster enough pressure to overcome the 1-goal deficit.
On this power play. Bugs at the point. Almost deflected! Just wide by Sanavori. Oh, the Omnishambles were that close to tying it up.
No, pressure was the Blades' lady that night.
Agropoulos in, and he wins the race. Konichev, dog-tired from the power play. Backhander save on a rising shot. McGerber's there. Brings it around. He's cleaned out by Agropoulos. Held by Boats, and he's railed by Hanks. Yogan, Hanks, score!
They made the Omnishambles look silly on this play, and that was the Blades' offense the world knew.
Bork lifted off the ice by Eisner Walterberg. Skates it up now. Blade world ready to explode now. I can barely hear.
What?
It's dumped back in by the Omnishambles.
What'd you say?
Earl, shut up, Jerry. He'll whip it. Save! The Dan Brisket with the robbing glove on Hurl.
You don't have to shout at me.
Johnny Backup, for his part, tried his little heart out.
Asplin wide, stops up, late man, Cadone! Saved by Johnny Backup with just over a minute to go.
But their fate was sealed.
Up the ice and fires! Save as the netminder is pulled. Schofield up to Lettuce Matthews. Lannon! Score!
Duff McGinnis had the following to say after the game.
Well, I thought we shut the lights out in the first 2 periods. In the third period, we just couldn't put the biscuit in the basket. We just couldn't put the stuffing in the turkey, or we couldn't even put the turkey in the oven.
He went on to blame postmodern music, of all things, for the O's defeat. I hate John Cage's 4 minutes and 33 seconds. It's not even silence. It's nothing. Anyone could compose it. In fact, anyone who has ever said nothing for 4 minutes and 33 seconds has composed it. But I'm not going to lose my composure, because silence is golden, but the Stanley Cup is silver. Truer words have never been spoken. The day after, he would say in the media that the hit on Osborne by Abstrider deserved punishment from the league. Adam O'Connor replied in the media with the succinct, "Mad 'cause bad." Abstrider did get hit with a 1-day suspension, but that 1 day ended up being the day between games 2 and 3, so he didn't miss a second of ice time. Either way, tensions were running very high as the series shifted to Rutgerhauer for the first time. Color commentator Jerry Kelly made his opinions about Ayatollah Abstrider known immediately.
You don't think we may see some retribution against Ayatollah Abstrider for the hit on Osborne?
If not from the players, then from me. I'll land one right on that punk's kisser in the parking lot if he doesn't leave the ice with a busted lip.
The miracles started early.
Matthews over Schofield, cleaned out by Timmy Mobile! Timmy Mobile just threw a hit! Oh my God! Timmy Mobile just threw a hit! The sky is falling! Boris Canone wheels it out up ahead to Keaton, who is lit up by Chunky Osborne! All the Omnishambles getting into the action now.
The O's brought all their snarl to open the first.
Upper Deck is already printing cards of Timmy Boatmeal lighting up Dean Schofield.
Deflected in front by Grabs, and it goes wide. Olafson gives it up to his opposite number 6. Kodachev. From the point it got through. The Dan Brisket saw it last second and made the pad save. Sloppy's to Bugs. Bugs off the blocker.
But Dan Brisket met them all the way. Nothing got past him.
Comes out to Seizure. To Beltola save!
Rutgerhauer was so obsessed with attacking, they blew defensive coverage at a critical juncture.
Cuts in. Backhand. Saved by backup. It comes around behind to Asplin. Asplin around in front. Shot! He scores! Asmus Asplin makes it 1-0 Blades. The Valor Field Arena has been christened with the champagne of goal scoring. Paul Hurl scoots up the left side, Boris head fakes and fires. Safe Dan Brisket, and it looked like Olafson almost put that one into his own net. What a disaster that would have been.
Then things took a turn for the supernatural.
Side! Good stick check by Carl Bugs, who is known for his hands. My goodness! Bucher gets catapulted away from the boards by an unseen force.
He just shot out of there.
Jerry, is this force benevolent or evil?
I'll have a ghost hunting team down there before sunrise. We'll get to the bottom of this.
I'm looking to the refs now. They have no idea. They're completely oblivious to the poltergeistic presence in the corner of the rink. Hot Sloppies is going to take a slashing penalty, but that is the least of his concerns.
The spirit at the southwesterly corner boards appeared to have an influence on the players, inciting bad hits,
And the Blades bench is up in arms over that hit.
shouting at each other,
Hispinen tonks it off the head of Schofield.
and general tomfoolery.
And he'll get snowed by Canone and Hanks. The Omnishambles don't like that. Tempers are heating up here. Behind the net, gets sent flying by Keaton. Duster Keaton has 9 kids. He knows how to put a fool in timeout.
The demon in the corner, later known to be Tepesh the Destroyer, would have to keep, as the Omnishambles tried not to further drop behind a killer Blades offense.
Dan Brisket with 3 quick right side saves. He at least looks like a man possessed so far in this game, Jerry. Comes down low to Boatmeal, another save by the Dan Brisket.
But the demon's influence over the players only grew.
Look out! Hot Sloppies absolutely leveled him.
Beautiful shoulder to chest. Beautiful.
Sean Olafson save backup. Osborne headmans into her. Look out! It deflected onto the bench right into Steven Nazardine's face. Oh no! Another male model for the Omnishambles has their bread and butter damaged by a rogue biscuit. Landon draws Bugs centered. Good defensive stick by Kodachev to save the day. It goes in now. Kodachev just got lit up by Bucher behind the play. No call.
We can debate intent on Abstrider's hit, but this hit was bad. Head, late, everything. Fortunately, Konachev would pass this protocol because Russian skulls are apparently made of steel.
And Yogan swoops in. Back to the point. Schofield, wrister deflection, score! Tom Hanks makes it 2-0, and the crowd is royally peeved.
Was it a perfect deflection? Yes. Should the O's have been a man up? Also yes. Valor Field was livid, and they would get angrier still.
Tailed by McGurvers, and he is creamed, and that's going to be a penalty. The Omnishambles tempers get the better of them, and they'll go shorthanded, and Valor Field is incensed. Bucher and the flock of bluebirds migrating south are flying over his head right about now. Shoved down from behind by Seizure. Keaton looking. Manhelmer fires. Score! Alfred and Lord Helmer! And the game has been blown wide open.
This game, as you have seen and will definitely see in the future, was in Omnishambles. So much weird stuff happened here, but buckle up for more. Though more immediately, the Blades had finally found their offense, and halfway through the third, Rutgerhauer hadn't scored in about 120 minutes of playing time. That's 2 whole games. The tide of the series was swinging heavily to the Blades.
We read some scripture, sprinkled some salt, burned some property, and Tepesh is no more.
We got champagne in the booth.
Don't tell them that.
As you heard, the commentators of all people banished the demon in the second intermission and decided to get hammered, especially after the game was put out of reach.
Maybe the real reason the Omnishambles are losing is because they didn't eat their Wheaties this morning.
Well, since we exercised the team, oh my goodness! Chunky Osborne just obliterated Dean Schofield! Schofield has taken a mauling today. Canone! Score! It's 4-0 Destruction Bay!
Well, that's another glass for me. Doug?
No, thanks. It's... what the hell?
Best case scenario for the Blades. Offense comes alive, Dan Brisket stops everything, and nobody's possessed by a demon. But Jerry Kelly decided to make a wager.
You know what? The Omnishambles are gonna win.
No.
No, they are. Mark my words. I am not sober enough for reality to give me the courtesy of being ring predictable.
And he did not stop.
Lemons go with, you know what? I have a flask here of 250 proof alcohol. It's called Forever Clear. I'm saving this for OT.
There won't be an overtime?
Bet on it?
If the Omnishambles force overtime, I will chug that entire flask of 250 proof alcohol.
Deal.
Deal! All right.
So now, not only was the series momentum on the line, but so were play-by-play Doug Rafferty's brain cells.
Carried to safety by Weiselberg and Biff Flannan. We don't want to miss your wonderful comeback.
Yes.
Wonderful comeback. It's a shot, blockered away by the Dan Brisket. Bugs again there, rebound, score!
It's begun.
Chunky Osborne!
Comeback time!
With 5 minutes left, Chunky Osborne made us all think for a second that the beginnings of a comeback had arrived. But had they?
In the game, even if his brain is melting out the sides of his ears. Konachev over to Bugs. Bugs head mans to McGerbers. McGerbers with a step. McGerbers fire, score!
What did I say?
What did I say?
Come back! Come back! It's comeback time!
With 4 minutes left, Herbers McGerbers made us all think that they could actually mount a comeback. But there's no way. Is there?
Boatmeal! Sanavori off the post! That close to a 1-goal game! McGerbers fighting for it now with Matthews. He lost it there in front. Bodies flying everywhere. McGerbers and Dan Brisket lead it. Couldn't left it high enough. It squirts around. McClanahan sends it back. McGerbers pressured there. That's a Konachev. Bumps away. He scores. Let's go. Oh my God. Come back. What?
This went on for a while.
Oh my God. Sweet land of liberty. Sweet land of liberty is 4-3.
Now, I don't condone excessive alcohol consumption, but if it somehow influences the causal nexus to make hockey more exciting, you can spare a glass or two.
The goal scorer, wheeling, fires! Oh my God! Saved by Dan Brisket.
Oh my God!
1 minute left in the game. The Gerbers, Bonds, blocked by Boatmeal in front. That may have been going in. 36 seconds left. We were standing up in here. The crowd's standing up in here. Even the quadruple amputees are standing up. Carl Potts with 13 seconds left. Has a lane. Fires. Blockered away.
Come on.
Over there. This is Strider. Back to over. 5-6 away, and that will do it. I don't have to drink the booze. No.
As far as falling behind the series goes, the Rutgerhauer front office noted that the Blades won a game as soon as they got a symbol to rally around, Abner Burbage. So, they canvassed the Burbs of Rutgerhauer for a story that was more powerful than Burbage's, and they found one. Charles Garrity was an ordinary Rutgerhauer resident and a fan of the Omnishambles, but being a quadruple amputee, he was the perfect target for exploitation by the O's marketing team. He was introduced before the game to the crowd to unite them, to will their team to a series tie. That poor guy, one fan said. I really hope he just gets to see these guys win. When asked for his opinion, Blades coach Jeb Thurgood replied, no comment. As if on cue, Game 4 started with the same tentativeness of Game 1, thusly so for the Blades, probably because they were expecting the Omnishambles counterattack, and the Omnishambles because they were expecting another full broadside from the Blades offense.
PV Bucher will retreat and now pawn it off to Biff Lannon.
This game is boring.
It didn't last long.
Safety where Carl Buggs sweeps it up. Where is the camera going? Thank you. Carl Buggs blows up PV Bucher.
Offense in the first was confined to the periphery as both teams put on a pretty solid defensive display. But that's not fun to watch. People like red, be it from goal lights or blood.
Buggs just allowed to enter the zone and takes to the corner. In front of Oatmeal and he just sent it wide.
His head came off. Oh my God, his head. Wait, no, that's just his helmet, his bucket.
McGerber's deflected, saved by Dan Brisket. Picked up by Lannon with 1 minute to go in Game 7. I mean, the first period. In front. Titus Matthews saved by backup. Rebound there. Bucher scores! PV Bucher cleans up the rebound to get his first goal of the series.
Johnny Backup wasn't really at fault for any goals in games 2 or 3, but he both fails to cover the puck and post here. If the Omnishambles had any hope of winning the series, Johnny Backup absolutely had to play like Johnny's starter, or at least Johnny 1A. And a brutal last-minute goal was not helping.
Goals in the last minute of a period are killers, like Biff Lannon.
Then, all defensive pretense disappeared as the last 40 began.
Now we're moved to the outside. Quick pass. Bucher stonewalled by backup. The follow-up from Matthews goes wide. Bucher on it again, does a 360. Walks it back to the point. Schofield, big bad save again. Bucher has it run to a ditch by Boatmeal and Konachev. Lannon, toe save and a beauty. Bismanen stands up. Yogan, green light hit. Lurk up with it now. Crap. Fawns it off to Sloppies. Sloppies has options. Will take it himself. Goes wide. Mr. Score!
Talk about bad goals. This goal is simply below Dan Brisket. That's the most cutting, laconic way I can put it. Enough said. Hot Sloppies was definitely due, though. That's a 6, Ellie. But one tough goal deserves another. Probably quite soon.
Keaton, give and go with Asplin here. Fire, and scores! Oh my! Asplin with a quick shot that may have been screened. It beats Backup only 55 seconds after his club had tied it.
2 tough goals for Johnny Backup, plus the 4 in a row he led in the last game, made head coach Duff McGinnis look around on his bench for another goalie. But that other goalie was dead. They had to ride Johnny Backup all the way. But he hadn't quite failed them yet.
Delivers a muffin to Dan Brisket's front door. Picks it up again. Swoops around in front, off the post! He had Dan Brisket beat to the near side. Berg's giving him no help. The quick shot goes over the net and Backup was caught leaning.
Berg is useless out there.
Up and down the near side boards it goes. Berbers gets it up to McGerber.
Yes!
Huge hit on
Take
Valor.
that! Take
And the
that!
crowd is going crazy. Sloppies fires. He figures, why not? I scored from here once. Bugs up through center. Dumps it in. Fourth line out there now for the Omnishambles. Grabs.
Wait a minute, is that the same Alfredo Grabs from my high school?
Back to Konachev, the point. Fires. Deflected down the front, scramble. Pelt on the shot save. Rebound save. Another shot. Score! Alfredo Grabs. 2-2.
Look, Alfredo Grabs is the kind of guy who says his skates are made out of happiness, but he always knows how to crash the net. And blitzing the net mouth and the fourth line go together like sodium and heart palpitations.
In the air, lands in the crease, and Turson clears it out of... No, give away to Boss shot! Deflected, save back up on the deflection by Herdina. And that will do it.
Timmy Boatmeal being a bit of a tryhard at the end there, sprinting after that puck after the buzzer. Kind of deserves to get his head shoved in a toilet.
With the all-important tying goal, Game 4 would go into its final regulation frame tied. And from here on out, folks, let's just say this is one you're not gonna forget.
Hit in the up end, Schofield. He just kind of shoved him sideways like an angry toddler does in elementary school. Centered in front, McGerber save! Another shot, Santamori, that one is stopped too! Abstrider down in the corner. Feeds around to Helmer. Helmer crunched by Boatmeal. Thundering hit from the kid. Pinned away, puck comes in front. Blockered away by the goaltender. Earl on it again. Earl took a bit of an elbow there from Abstrider. He's stunned, and then he pitchforks Abstrider down. And the crowd loves that. Over to Hurl, shot, save again, the Dan Brisket. Controlling now to Seizure over the line. He's got Alfredo Graf breaking in front to him, save! Again, the netminder Dan Brisket stands tall. Seizure wins the race. Back to Bismanen. Drive, mile wide at the Sherwood end. If you're sure it's Wood, then we're sure you're good. Unclopoulos behind the D. Save by Backup.
No whistles yet in this third period. Quelle action, quelle énergie!
Now it's on Sloppies. Sloppies with Boudreaux Plouffe in front. Doesn't make it there. 3-on-1 developing, only Bismanen's back. Durson gunning it out, might get back. Yogan pulls wide and pawns it off. Walterberg fires! It goes wide, might have been tipped by Pispinen. Landon turns back and rings it around, but Boatmeal intercepts. Valor field reaching a fever pitch. Konachev, big drive! Good save by the Dan Brisket. Lets Boatmeal take it there and squirts it back out to him. A shot save! 2 minutes remaining. Battle in the corner. It comes out. Boatmeal is tripped up. Boatmeal was tripped up. No call on the play. Boatmeal in the slot with the puck in right to him. McGurvers claims out Walterberg. And then Bucher. Bodies flying everywhere. Save down Brisket. With 1 minute remaining in the third, we get our first whistle. Back pass to Cano from Elmer, and he is knocked over by Osborne. Man breaking Sloppies, fires, save Dan Brisket, he just got enough. Got it there, he 360s deflected down by Asplin. Great play there, 18 seconds, shot saved by backup. Wins it to Bugs, lost to Bucher, a shot, save, another shot. Cleared out by Bugs, and that will do it. 60 minutes, not enough. We're gonna get our first overtime of the series, and listen to this.
19 minutes and 7/10 of a second of non-stop hockey to start the third. The second period essentially delivered us in immediate overtime with all the perks of fire wagon hockey. But now the blood pressure goes up further still. If the Omnishambles score, they've tied the series at 2, a feat most would not have thought possible. If the Blades score, it's 3 straight wins and a stranglehold on the series. But we still need one more red light.
The next shot may win the game. The next save will not win the game.
Game 4 demanded a pound of flesh from every player to be the deserving winner.
Let's go back to that hit on Sloppies. It looks like Asplin comes in with a short.
Oh, man.
Wow, look at that impact. Sloppies may have to do a head count of intact ligaments in his neck after that one.
Unfortunately, most of overtime wouldn't live up to the pedigree of the third period, with most of the action coming from between the two blue lines.
Osborne can't get to it. It's fielded by Landon. Abstarter behind, back to Landon. Santamori lights him up again. And the crowd is loving that. Landon down low and loses it to Osborne, who sends it up to Sloppies. Breakaway, the goalie to beat. Forehand, backhand, saved by Dan Brisket. 8:44 in the first overtime. Draws tied up for a moment. What a save by Dan Brisket on left wing number 24 with the ripper. Blades reset now out to Equipolus.
Gotta get it on net.
Speeds up around the defense in front. Save on Hanks. He tried to pull it to the forehand. No sail. Back to Hanks now. Vaporized by Emil Boudreau. Blue. And the crowd gets on their feet for the male model who's come so far. Bugs up to Boatmeal. 3 abreast of the attacking line. Boatmeal draws everyone wide. Santamori interior saved by Dan Brisket. Asplin roaring up through center. Bugs and Konachev back. Asplin takes Bug to the outside. Drops the back lane man Helmer. Blocked by Bugs. And it comes all the way out to Santamori one-on-one. Schofield back. Santamori forehand. Great defense by Schofield to hold him off. 36 to go. Comes to Santamori again.
If I'm the Omnishambles, this is the guy I want to have the puck right now.
He swings down low behind the net and from Bugs. Saved to Dan Brisket, point blank. Boatmeal lets it down. No shot there. Sifts it back. One-timer. Oh, that Dan Brisket barely got a piece. Carl Bugs indulged with 7 seconds left. And we are going to the second overtime. Oh, my throat.
Period 5. This was already the longest playoff game in Omnishambles history, and it was pushing it for the Blades. But we wouldn't have to wait much longer for deliverance.
Boatmeal breaking in. Centers to Santamori. Point blank stop by the Dan Brisket. Matthews carries it to safety. Pulls up the blue line. Fires. Saved by backup and struggled over. And McGurvers fished it off the goal line. McGurvers with the game-saving stop. Santamori a drive and it's saved. Sweet baby Rays. What a heads-up play by McGurvers. He sends it ahead now. They'll finally come ahead to Boatmeal. Boatmeal cuts to the middle. He winds and fires. Just high. Dan Brisket was caught leaning. Schofield. Give away to Hurl. To Boatmeal. He scores! Timmy Boatmeal! You're a man now, Timmy! 3-2 Omnishambles!
Timothy Boatmeal, the man/boy whose bones were made of enriched wheat flour, made his presence felt in these 2 games in Rutgerhauer and punctuated it with an OT series-tying goal. After the game, the team took him to Chuck E. Cheese to celebrate. And to be honest, that sounds like a great time. The establishment did not let them create a beer snake, though. We live in a society. The Blades once again found themselves short on answers for why their offense wasn't blowing the Omnishambles out of the water. Shot volume was low, but Johnny Backup was a very human goalie. The true answer soon came to the Blades. It was because Rutgerhauer was out sob-storying them. A steadfast, loyal old fart doesn't have jack on a quadruple amputee, so they revoked Abner Burbage's postseason tickets and gave him to a class at St. Gertrude's Kindergarten for the terminally ill. The crowd cheered, the crowd wept, and they rallied behind those poor kids. Those poor kids, one fan said. I really hope they just get to see these guys win. The battle for the hearts of the fans was reaching a fever pitch, and it wouldn't stop there. The Blades were losing a lot of water weight and sweating so much, because with their depth, they should have been up at least 3-1. But the Omnishambles offense was succeeding where the Blades was not. Everywhere.
Bugs to Sanavori over the line. Scott Boatmeal in the slot, got it! Score! Timmy the Terror rides again!
The Blades quickly learned the price of not having your head 100% in the game right at puck drop, and the earliest goal of the series put the weight of the world on their shoulders again. If they were going to prove they were the better team, they'd have to start showing us the stuff of champions. The Omnishambles offense still easily had the better of play in the first.
Canone down the right-hand side, holds, cuts to the middle through 2 defenders, and it's saved by backup.
Destruction Bay outshot them 11-6, but few of those 11 were actually solid scoring chances.
Osborne hooked by Abstrider. Officials let the play continue. And Osborne lights up Ayatollah Abstrider. Abstrider rolling around on the ice like he's been shot. Get up! Fourth line out now for the Blades. They've seen very little ice
Well,
time.
it's because they suck, Doug. If you have players that suck, you don't play them, so that the players that don't suck get the chance to be cool and have massive drift.
Cuts to the middle. Nasruddin has no idea where he went. Looney Tunes moment. Homer deflected. Good positioning by backup.
The Blades were crumbling under pressure, and physically, they were under siege.
Canone takes it wide. Carl Bugs just destroys Boris Canone.
Fire!
Poor Boris Canone chose the exact wrong time to try and turn a corner on Carl Bugs, and the lasting image of him getting sent to air jail soured the mood of the crowd to open the second. But fortunately, players are mentally tougher than fans.
By Bucher, he heaves it around, it comes right in front, Bucher! And the backhander sent just wide! Walterberg over center, to the front, and Grumple is there! Both men bowled over, cleaned out by the defense, to Bucher, back again. Bad change there, odd man rush, Yogan, late man Bucher, fakes, shot, score! Yogan ties the game!
A brutal change by Graps created a 3-on-2 the other way, and Heavy Puker had the defense on a string, sold shot all the way. I think he has a lot of underrated finesse skill. Great celly, too. And the Blades were alive.
Elmer winds and cranks one high, and backup may have got a piece of it. Down there to Asplin at the post, Johnny backup stood tall.
An ill-advised penalty by McGerbers opened wide the door of opportunity. But the Blades in this series had opportunity. All they needed still was making them count.
Asplin, hard charging, pulls up, everyone over skates. Asplin curls and fires. He scores! Off a defender and in. 2-1 Blades.
Asplin is duly rewarded for his third goal of the series. Valor screened the goalie. Valor
he
screened
did.
the goalie.
Yep.
It goes off Bugs, but it's all Lurg's fault. Backup couldn't see a thing. They really should fire Lurg or cripple him.
Now the sweat bucket quota was fulfilled by the Omnishambles, as momentum swung back towards the expected winner.
Sanavori is due. He's had chance after chance, but he just can't finish. Very unlike him. He's usually Omega clutch in the playoffs.
Dan Brisket, standing tall, has held the Omnishambles top line to just 2 goals in 4+ games.
The Blades smelled blood.
Clapper from the point! Oh, and backup saw that late with the screen from Nasruddin.
Going into the third period, Jeb Thurgood stressed an offensive posture, confident enough in the sporadic nature of the Omnishambles offense that in a shootout-style game, they couldn't outscore Destruction Bay.
Back down now, it comes to Lettuce Matthews. Power move to the inside, save, rebound, set across the empty goal mouth by Heavy Bucher.
With a series stranglehold on the line, the agitators went to work.
Bucher is jawing at the Omnishambles bench again as he goes off for a change. Looks like the Omnishambles are chirping the Blades bench now. A full-on shouting match is going on down there as Hurl's shot is blockered away. Sloppy's down low. Jesper Tursin just threw a water bottle into the Blades bench. Tempers are flaring. Biff Lannon's rising up now. He threw a grenade in the Omnishambles bench. Sloppy's in front save. The grenade goes off, but fortunately, those ballistic shin guards appear to have prevented any injury. Up through center, Asplin. As a man breaking, Canone got it there! The pass was off, went right to Johnny backup. He's an entity created out of the circumstantial needs of the Omnishambles team. Asplin races down the left side. Center one-timer! Keaton scores! 3-1 Blades!
A poor defensive play by Carl Bugs doubled the Blades' lead. So the blitzkrieg paid off, and the Blades just played clear, dump and chase for the remaining half period to cruise their way to a 3-2 series lead. Perhaps the inevitable was happening for the Omnishambles. Perhaps this was always how the series was going to end, with defeat at the hands of a team that seemed destined for success after it was out of their reach for so long. Maybe it was just because their goalie, forced into a starter's role, simply couldn't keep up. Or maybe the offense of their top six was just too sporadic to be dependable. But, in searching for a solution to the former, they found one for the latter. On the off day between Game 5 and 6, Herbers McGerbers and Duff McGinnis traveled to Finland to see if they could find another goalie, because Finland makes those in spades. But purely by chance, they found the man who had caught and eaten the Wells catfish. And the Omnishambles' fortunes would change forever. Seppo Repo was signed to a one-series deal with the Omnishambles. Technically, as an amateur, it fell within the rules. His services were indispensable to the Omnishambles facing elimination. Still trying to out-PR the Blades, the Omnishambles held a pre-game ceremony celebrating the life of Willie, the last surviving Tasmanian whistle tortoise, who was mere days from death. It brought tears to the eyes of many, but not all. Jeb Thurgood, notably, had no comment. All this craziness finally got the attention of the LOHL commissioner after he returned from his vacation in Cyprus. He brought both teams together before Game 6 and had them all sign a contract. There would be no murders, no threats, no rebrands, no parading of unfortunates, no nothing. Just good, clean hockey, no matter what. Valor Field would not have to wait long to get their first taste of 58-year-old Seppo Repo.
Repo, still out there almost 6 minutes into the game. He's a workhorse. Wrist shot, blockered away. What a quick release that was. Asplund in a foot race. He'll reach it first, got it. Cuts back, finds his man Yogan. Split save by backup.
The ice would be broken by the man who needed a red light the most.
Bucher wins it to Abstrider, backhand block. Matthews on the fadeaway. He scores! Landis Matthews finally gets his first of the playoffs. It's 1-0.
I think this is the first true bad bounce goal we've seen in this series. The deflection lands right in the feet of Matthews, who just snipes it. But it was the new blood on the Omnishambles that got a fortunate bounce for them.
Get their crowd back into it now. Osborne wins to Konashev. A drive, broken stick, score! Goal! And just like that, we are all tied up.
This goal was so satisfying. One, because you never see a broken stick land such a perfect pass, and two, because of Paul Hurl's righteous celly. The first male model playoff goal for the Omnishambles. The rest of the team mobbed him once he got to the bench. It was an awesome sight to behold.
Nobody home.
If I'm the Blades, I'm starting to sweat a little bit. No lead for them has been safe in this building. They had a 4-0 lead in Game 3 and almost squandered that. The only reason they probably didn't is because there just wasn't enough time left for the Omnishambles to tie it. And today they see their only lead from a player they need goals from get squandered in about 1 minute.
Dishes it up, Bucher up now to Landon. Landon cuts inside, a shot! Kicked out by backup, and Konachev will clear the rebound. All the way across to Repo. Repo now looks, drops the hammer! It trickles through just wide off the outside of the net. Landon there. Tries to swagger by. Oh, and the puck's floated on goal.
In the middle frame, guys, booby, Rutgerhauer absolutely took it to the Blades. It was utter domination, surpassed only by the Dan Brisket's heroics in net.
Saying nobody challenging. Fires in tight, save by the damn Brisket. Looks again, drive, send it wide.
What a noob.
Sanavori lugs the mail into the O-zone. Fires, another high save by Dan Brisket. The firefighters.
Oh yeah.
This is to box a shot. Deflected en route by Boatmeal, and the puck stayed out somehow. Boatmeal up now to Repo. Repo in all alone on the breakaway. Repo the shot. 5-0 save again by the Dan Brisket. Boatmeal centers, and Seppo Repo just couldn't get it home. Boatmeal again, breaks off a check, backhander elbowed away by the damn Brisket. Dumps it to Lurg.
Oh no.
Lurg has a lane, Lurg in a shot, another blocker saved by Dan Brisket.
Oh, thank God.
For Walter Bergen, he's got the puck. It slides out to Boatmeal, saved by Dan Brisket.
The Omnishambles outshot the Blades 18-1. But that dominance would be overshadowed by a peculiar smell.
Don't get technical with me, I'm just saying it's starting to smell like burning.
Burning? What could possibly be burning? The center of this building is made of ice.
Fire, probably?
A fire had broken out in the bowels of Valor Field. Firefighting efforts were made while fans were evacuated. But the players were under a poorly worded contract to play at all costs. The fire wasn't that large at first, but the smoke and dry air made the threat apparent to open the third period.
The firefighting efforts have begun, and it sounds like they are making progress, but a lot more smoke is going to make its way up here before all is said and done, so...
Commentators had agreed to stay and call the game, though smoke had reached them in the booth. 20 players aside gutted it out on the watery, sludgy ice as the smoke grew thicker.
They don't want to keep this going any more than we do.
Back to Helmer! Shot blocked by Boatmeal, and that one stung. Not out of the zone, Boatmeal dives to break up the play!
The Blades needed a goal to advance and kill the pesky hopes of the Omnishambles.
Let's bring to the front! Saved by backup! Rebel with sloppies! Rebel with sloppies! Save Dan Brisket!
The Omnishambles needed a goal to stay alive.
Somebody! Anybody looking for a goal now! There's a Durson one-timer! Comes up into the air by Matthews. What a hit!
I got you, buddy. Pass intercepted by Helmer. Repo to pressure, but Abstrider loses it to the corner.
Matthews back to Abstrider. Shot! Wide! Cupid picks it up. Matthews one-timer. Wide! O'Neal racing in. Backhand. Save! And Gerber stops it. Alterberg. There. 3 minutes. Somebody has to score! Don-Man Whitland. Aspen a drive! Walker away and it's cleaned out!
Improbably, unethically, and unfortunately, as the fire was finally put out, regulation expired and Game 6 went to overtime. As the smoke was vented out, half of Valor Field was gutted and it was quickly deemed unfit for public access. It would be abandoned after the game, the last game for the Omnishambles in front of their home crowd. But we still needed a winner.
3-on-2 for the Blades. Keaton in down low. Centers in front. Oh, and Cajon just couldn't get a handle. He thunders down the wing, full of steam and into the zone. Down to Santamori. The pass was just too far ahead of him. Asplin now Mogley tossed to Cajon. Cajon wants to drive. Bluffed down by backup. Biggest stop of his career. Covered by the Blades. Now it's up to Asplin. Asplin lost it to Santamori. Bad save. Abstrider give away Repo. Santamori. Score!
A police investigation found that the fire was started by an animal rights activist who didn't like that the Omnishambles paraded around an endling for brownie points. Arson is a little far, but yeah, marketing can be pretty evil sometimes. But controversy had not finished rearing its ugly head. O'Connor had one last trick up his sleeve. He wrote the commissioner, saying that the Omnishambles were guilty of performance-enhancing drug use. And they actually were. The compound they used had several notable effects when consumed. It reduced fatigue, helped transport oxygen throughout the body, allowed for quicker recovery of muscle fibers, sharpened cognitive functions, and without it, scarily, the body suffered cold sweats, dizziness, weight loss, cognitive impairment, and severe fatigue. It was the odorless, inorganic hydroxy compound commonly known as water. In the face of this evidence, the league tested every player for water and found copious amounts of it in every last one. Everyone was juiced to the gills. Even the coaches were hopped up with that vitamin S. Jeb Thurgood finally broke his vow of silence in the wake of the water ban. He said, "They need that stuff." After consulting Wikipedia, the league found it to be true, and the water embargo was lifted, just before the players arrived at Blade World. So, the no-matter-what clause of the contract was struck, and both teams came to a gentleman's agreement for Game 7 to not be stupid or edgy or whatever, but just to give it their best. And boy howdy, they did. The curtain rose on the final act in the craziest series in hockey history. The line for the media was the goaltending. The low shot volume for the Blades actually seemed to hinder Johnny Backup, while Dan Brisket had almost stolen Game 6 for Destruction Bay.
Game 7 underway. Schofield up the wall, slides it over to Bucher. Matthews shoots and a 10-bell save. Walker stopped by Backup on the first shot of the game. Back to Boatmeal, wrister. Blocked down in front of Gerber, spearing for it, but Dan Brisket reaches behind and will get the whistle.
Both teams made it apparent right out of the gates. Tonight, they would play their best hockey.
Point. Olofsson restaurant goal deflected! Asplund right there fighting for it! He's no off the post! Somehow it stayed out!
Move the puck, Lurg, you damn fool!
Chunky Osborne headbands into Hurl. Hurl with Sanavori. What a move around Olofsson shot! Just wide!
Thank goodness, the commentators seemed none the worse for wear after Game 6 and were on their A game.
What a guy. What a smolder.
Best smolder in Nova Scotia in 2003.
That was a great year for smolders, too.
It's given away to Emil Boudreau-Plouffe. Sent back to Lurk. Fires! Deflected by Sloppies, and the Dan Brisket got a pad on that.
These guys let up for nothing.
But he's gonna try one last rush. Comes in, lines to the middle, shot! Loudly off the pads of Johnny Backup. Not giving up on the play, but Bugs will win it and come away with it.
If only Biff Landon cared as much about other human beings' dignity as he did puck possession.
Repo ahead with steam. Quick shot off the glove of the Dan Brisket! Rolls behind him and just trickled wide!
It cannot.
Sanavori, beautiful head fake to get around Helmer. Man breaking and Searle got it! Alone! Score! Paul Hurl! I knew he had it in him! Omnishambles draw first blood!
The legend of the Rutgerhauer male models continued with a perfect mix of finesse from Sanavori and grind from Hurl. The Game 6 goal scorers hooking up on that play sent the Omnishambles bench into absolute elation. Off the next face-off, Duster Keaton gave his mates on the bench a pep talk, but the Blades, mentally, were still one crucial step behind.
Sloppy hounds it down in the corner. Great hustle out in front. Boudreau-Plouffe scores!
Fancy dress sense equals fancy hands, I guess. A great effort from Sloppies to set up EBP with a platinum opportunity, and he absolutely crushed this shot with championship-grade gumption.
You know, Emil Boudreau-Plouffe started playing hockey with the kids at the charity he helped run.
No kidding.
Yeah, since he started playing, he's been teaching all the Annies and the Bruce Waynes of the world how to clap at top cookies.
Now it looked to be the Blades who were in shambles, exiting the first down 2, an unthinkable scenario. No team had come back down 2 goals yet in this series. It's not like they were playing badly. Shots were only 7-6. It was more like the incomparable Dan Brisket was not making the saves that made him incomparable. First one, that's a tough shot for any goalie. Second one, given his track record, he probably should have had. But keep in mind, the Blades should never have been in this situation anyway. Their offense only brought the pain during games 3, 5, and half of game 2. They'd been outshot in every game except game 5. Usually by a wide margin. Captain Heavy Puker knew this, and to hype his team up and prevent Lannon from snapping the neck of the trainer, he gave an apparently legendary speech after period 1. But would it be able to motivate the Blades past their obvious mental hurdles? Well, long story short, they got more shots, but not better chances per se.
3 Omnishambles back, giving him space though. Canon chokes up, fires! Tough stop by Johnny Backup.
Dan Brisket, for one, seemed to regain his form.
Osborne in, nobody challenging. Cross-ice feed, save Dan Brisket off Hurl. Drops down there, fought for Canon. Backup save rebound. Boris Canon with 2 golden, nay, platinum opportunities all the way into the point. Back to McGurbers, a beautiful passing shot, but the captain was stonewalled by the Dan Brisket.
Back and forth, back and forth.
Comes in with McGurbers and Boatmeal. Repo taking it all the way himself. Short side nearly beat the Dan Brisket. Earlier in the series has been absolute dynamite without the puck this time around. And Konachev is folded by Lettuce Matthews. Boatmeal holding it to half boards. Wait for options. McGurbers. Huge blocker stop by the Dan Brisket. That was labeled from the top corner. Jousting at the slot and Helmer sends McGurbers flying. Crowd on their feet. They are loving it. It's Asplund now. Right hand side. Deals around Lurg. To the slot. Shot saved by Backup with the dramatic swipe stick off Canode. Hurl still on it. In front, another point blank saved by the Dan Brisket. Cheering for scoring chances. Give away Sloppies. Wide. Gotta get that one on net. That could have been the dagger in this game 7.
Uh-oh.
What?
You jinxed it.
No, I
You
didn't.
jinxed the worst lead in hockey. You did it. You totally did it.
No, what have I done? Gates to the middle, drop off shot. Eggs was stopped by Backup. Great interchange there. Hacks to the front, stopped. It's Luthericopolis. It sails over the net. Matthews left side. Pisman blows a tire off the post, and it came right back across. Matthews space again to the front. He scores! Lettuce Matthews! Destruction Bay is alive!
PP Pispinen stumbles and overcommits at the absolute worst time, and Lettuce Matthews has all day to rip it home, and not hit the post for once. Seriously, he hit like half a dozen of them in the series, count them. At this point, it was a battle of will. Whose was stronger, the Blades to persevere, or the Omnishambles to not be cowed?
Bugs takes it down the left side, tries a shot, smutters in the front, Repo! He scores! Seppo Repo! I don't believe it! Just like that, it's 3-1!
The Omnishambles. Not even close. The Blades had quite a few backbreaking goofs in this series, but this one was the very goofiest. The only, and I mean only, consolation about this is that they still had 20 minutes, give or take, to get 2 back. In the locker room, Heavy Puker gave another inspiring speech to his team, expressing his confidence in his teammates' ability to achieve their destiny and sales goals. But again, only time would tell if that speech was successful.
It's the third period of Game 7. Do or die time for these players, and if they don't do, they will die!
Game 7.
Bowman right down the slot, fires! A quick save by Dan Brisket. Puker up over the line. Winds it, fires! Big blocker save, the rebound skies to the slot, landed there! Scores!
It was. How about that? Who knew such an ugly face could be so inspiring? In fairness, this is an incredibly skilled play from Landon to draw this puck to the forehand out of midair and rip it. 1-goal game early in the third.
And the Blades are only 1 behind, with plenty of time to go. We may even see...
No, don't say it!
Game 7 overtime. Up now, Canone. Opon it off to Olofsson. Canone gets absolutely destroyed by Sanabori. Matthews across the blue line. Pulls up, bombs away. Score! Game 7 is tied!
At the most crucial point of the series' prevailing storyline finally seemed like it was relevant again. Johnny Backup was just a backup, and that goal was a tough one to give up. Shot volume may have been the answer for the Blades all along. As we hurtled towards the end of regulation, nerves began to show.
Very conservatively now, as we're down to just over 9 minutes. Canone into the zone. Holds up, once and fires, blocked, knocked out by Asplund right in front! Incredible save by Johnny Backup! Canone right side, Bispman marks him there. Deft move to the inside, Landon! Does fire that wide! 7 minutes to go in the game. Set it out back to the point, almost a disaster. Schofield! Back up with a blocker save on a BB from Schofield. Sanabori lugs the mail all the way into the Blade zone. Got a man with him, hurl over to him! Saved by the Dan Brisket! McGerber's there, one back to Konachev, a shot! Dan Brisket fell over, but just got enough of a piece to kick it away. Might be an odd man rush, but Schofield also back to take the lane away. McGerber's ended anyway! Saved point blank by the Dan Brisket on Seppo Repo! Now it's up and out, headman Matthews. Lots of space, cuts inside, a shot! Off the post, on the goal line! And it's swept out of there by Johnny Backup! And Konachev will recover!
Oh my good God!
Repo hounds it down again. He could feed it back to Bugs. Dances with it there for a moment. Now to Repo. In the slot shot blocked by his own man. Jimmy Beaumille takes it himself. Around the ads along the boards. Still doesn't pass. Not pressured at all. Still waits. Still doesn't do anything. I feel like I'm watching an old person trying to take a dump. Do something. Backhander. That was terrible.
A very Lurgian shot.
Now Biff Land is doing the same thing. They're just playing for overtime. The conditions to win are the same either way, you fool! Try and score! Turns Konachev inside out, a shot! From our backup! And with 4.5 seconds left, we get one last whistle. There, and that will do it. The winner take all game. Good position to intercept. Streaking up now, they want to end it here. Matthews stood up well by Konachev, and tearing right in. Great save by Backup and tied on the most dangerous sniper the Blades have. 2 on 3, he'll bide his time, but the deal overskates. And McGerber's in front, but he whiffed. Missed on a season-prolonging chance. McGerber's to Repo. He shoots. He scores! Seppo Repo!
He did it!
My absolute boy! It's over!
Oh my God, he did it! What a shot! Perfect into the top corner! I can't believe it! The Omnishambles eliminated the Blades! I gambled my life savings on that line! I'm rich!
Destruction Bay would walk away from 2005 with nothing to show the national audience for their greatly improved season. Ultimately, their elimination came down to their offense completely evaporating. The Dan Brisket let in a soft goal or two, but he was the best player in the series for either team, hands down. The defense in front of him made 2 horrible giveaways to seal games 4 and 6. But the future was bright for them. Maybe they'd reach the top sometime soon. The Omnishambles didn't get much offense either, but they got enough of it from all up and down the lineup, and a decent enough performance by Johnny Backup vaulted them over a superior team. The quarterfinals collected a motley crew of all posts and persuasions and made something magical with them, but it couldn't outshine the NHL. It returned the following year and the LOHL remained in obscurity. But the lockout year is also a personal macrocosm of the team's and players' situation, though. Neither team was really supposed to be on that stage. It was new ground for one, and a total surprise for the other. The players weren't even supposed to be there. At over 30, Daniel Konachev was supposed to be on his way out of the league. Dan Brisket was destined for better things. Seppo Repo was paying penance. Biff Lannon was a felon. The models, Helmer, backup, all of them found themselves in an extraordinary situation, and thusly, by necessity, fashioned themselves into extraordinary men. But it happened. Despite all of these reasons, this series happened. Maybe it didn't happen to save the league, because it remained in the dark. Maybe it didn't happen to bring glory to a team, because neither won it with this series. Maybe it was just for the players to battle and win. Maybe it happened for its own sake. Maybe it happened just for the love of hockey.